So for those of you who have joined us, we're just giving folks a few minutes to log into the call. Thank you for joining us on time here.
All right, we'll probably give folks a minute or two more and then we'll jump right in. All right, we can probably get started. Thank you everyone for joining us today. This is a webinar about how do we equip support teams for the GenAI era. We'll start with the quick introductions and the agenda for the webinar today. Marilyn, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, that sounds good. Thank you, Palak. So excited to be here. Thank you to Palak and IrisAgent team for inviting me to be part of this inaugural session to kick off the IrisAgent webinar series. A quick intro about myself. So I'm Marilyn, and I am here to be a thought leader on sharing information around being a strategic and proactive and responsive customer support team, how important that is, and how you can leverage technology like GenAI to do that, modernizing your support operations. And I did not come from a traditional career path into support. My career portfolio spans over 2 decades at companies including Ernst & Young, Oracle, notably almost 15 years at Salesforce, and then more recently at a startup called Dalal. And I've held leadership roles that spanned across IT audit, program product management, strategy operations and renewals, and the support organizations, being chief of staff, and then also running customer support for global technical support teams. And I am currently running my own business, leading consulting and advisory services. And my company is called Lotus Group International. And we're on a mission to help transform customer support into your company's secret weapon for success. And we specialize in helping organizations adopt to the evolving customer service landscape, integrating AI-driven solutions, and modernizing support operations for maximum efficiency and impact. So great to be here today.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Marilyn, for joining us today for the webinar. I'm sure folks can learn a lot from your rich experience. A quick introduction about me. I'm Palak Dalal Bhatia. I'm the founder and CEO of IrisAgent. Before IrisAgent, I used to be a product manager at Google, leading support for stateful applications on top of containers and Kubernetes. I've also, been in different industries and functions, started my journey as an engineer and now into product management and all the way into support automation here. And yeah, a quick introduction about IrisAgent. We are AI-powered support automation platform. We help support agent teams by providing AI co-pilot to respond faster to support issues, as well as automate many of the simple repetitive tasks that support teams do on a repetitive basis. Yeah, so great to be here and to talk a little bit about our experiences and our learning so far. This is a quick agenda for today's webinar. We'll talk about evolution of support and automation in the last few years, how GenAI is being very effective in terms of deflection, and also talk about some of the customer experiences and how best to adopt to AI in this changing landscape. All right.
Great.
Over to you, Marilyn.
Thank you. So as we were putting this webinar session together, we thought it would be great to get grounded on the history of customer support. And for me, it was fun to pull up that history list and get a dive into those pivotal moments. But what really jumped out was that when I read about the first ever recorded customer service complaint, which dated back to 1750 BC. And this man named Nani had written a complaint on a clay tablet. And it was found in ancient Mesopotamia, I hope I pronounced that right, which is modern day Iraq. And the complaint essentially was about poor quality of these copper ingots that Nani had purchased from a merchant. And he also complained about how he was poorly treated during the transaction. So he demanded either getting his money back or getting the issue resolved. And it's interesting because it feels, you know, after so long in history, these are still very much common complaints from customers, right? And for those of you who are interested, this tablet is actually preserved in the British Museum in London. So if you ever hop over to London and want to take a look at that clay tablet, it's there. Other pivotal moments in customer support history, I'll call out 3 of them. So one is back in 1876, the invention of the telephone. I mean, this innovation really helped fundamentally change how customers and businesses communicate, making support more immediate and accessible. And this was a major turning point in the evolution of customer service. And then in the 60s and 70s, it was the emergence of call centers. And call centers really helped revolutionize the customer service by centralizing support operations and then helping to set the stage for modern customer service infrastructures and response management. And then going into about a decade and a half ago in the 2010s, this was the rise of the artificial intelligence and natural language processing. And this is the era that really helped introduce AI-driven customer service solutions and has transformed the way businesses are handling the inquiries, deflecting tickets, and automating routine tasks. And it has paved the way for today's advanced support systems. And so our topic today is focused on helping equip teams for the GenAI era. So what is GenAI? I think most of you out in the audience are very familiar with it now, thanks to ChatGPT. And GenAI is really a type of AI that allows us to create new content, whether it's text or images. And in our case for customer support, it's answers to customer inquiries. And it's taking in all the data, patterns in data, and utilizing that information and knowledge to help generate those responses that are accurate, relevant, and also personalized. And if we talk about the significance of GenAI in customer support, there are 4 areas I want to call out. So the first one is more personalized responses. With GenAI, we're no longer giving generic one-size-fits-all answers, but instead AI analyzes the context, taking in previous interactions and any specific preferences of the customer, delivering high personalized solutions that feel very tailored to each customer. And then there's faster resolution times, and in customer support, time is critical. GenAI really helps enable faster resolutions by instantly processing inquiries and then offering relevant solutions, and that helps reduce customer wait times and improve customer satisfaction. Then with increased accuracy, GenAI is not just fast, but also accurate. It takes into account the customer's entire history and context to provide that detailed, precise answer, helping to minimize the risk of miscommunication and providing incorrect solutions. And then finally, enhancing the customer journey. This point is around how GenAI enhances broader customer journey by proactively understanding the pain points across various touch points that the customer goes through on their journey. And it helps customers to get better support at every stage of their experience. And this makes interactions smoother and more intuitive. And just giving an example of what that looks like on the enhancing customer journey with GenAI. So this is very common. I'm sure many of you have experienced something like this before. So imagine a customer, we'll call her Sarah, who frequently contacts support about her smart home devices. And so with traditional support, every time she needs to reach out, she has to start each interaction from scratch, right? Logging a new ticket. And it requires Sarah to go and explain the issue repeatedly. But with GenAI, Sarah's entire customer journey is tracked in the system, right? So when she reaches out, AI can instantly recognize her previous interactions, the specific product she owns, and also the past troubleshooting steps that she had already been guided to go through. So instead of providing generic responses, Sarah will actually receive a proactive, personalized message, which helps her determine exactly pinpointing the issue that she's encountering, giving her solutions, and offering to make sure that a call is scheduled if needed, if she needs to speak to a specialist. So then the outcome is Sarah doesn't have to keep explaining her issue repeatedly, and support feels really seamless. And the proactive solution also leads to a faster and more satisfying experience. And so then this enhanced journey really helps reduce the friction at every step and improves Sarah's trust and loyalty to the brand. So if we can move to the next slide. So as we cover on the importance here, and then talking about the challenges that are being faced today and the reactive and manual customer support, I'll just touch on a few examples here. I'm not going to go through all of them on this slide, but a couple that are key to call out include today, as we know, there's high support costs in this tough economy, right? Support teams are expensive to maintain, and with labor and resource costs rising in this tough economy, we're managing through these expenses and we want to make sure that we're not compromising the service quality, because that's really critical. It's a critical challenge for organizations to kind of balance all that. The other is customers have this expectation of instant answers, and so they don't want to have to spend time logging tickets, and they no longer tolerate being put on hold or waiting for their ticket to be responded to. And they're looking for that instant resolution. In that moment, they're encountering that issue, they want that resolution. And so if you're failing to meet that expectation, it can lead to that frustration with the customer, and then of course decreased customer loyalty. And then one other one that I want to tap into is how support has a lot of cleanup to do in general, I think, whether it's data or processes. And speaking about the processes, there's just a lot of manual workflows. And not only is it time consuming to navigate and go through, but it also leads to higher rates of error, and then again, leading to slow resolution rates. And this inefficiency can be overwhelming to the team. They're seeing spikes in the case backlogs. And so then when there's more demand from the customer side, it also impacts the quality of the support being delivered. So then, Palak, I'm going to hand it over to you to share an example use case around this area.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great segue from, how do we solve for these challenges? In our experience of working with customers, there are three main pillars where we have found GenAI to be most effective. The first one is AI self-service answers. This is where, we have AI agents, AI bots, and email responders and similar solutions finding answers for customers' questions without any human intervention. So, think of simple repetitive questions that come in that can be directly answered from articles or similar content sources that AI has been trained on. So yeah, we have seen customers use GenAI chatbots, case autoresponders, as well as embedding an intelligent AI search, which goes beyond just the keyword-based matching. And that search can, be powered either on a community page, a help center page, or even when a customer is typing their issue on a ticket creation form. So those are all the avenues that companies have to reduce the overall volume of tickets that are coming in, as well as delight customers with instant answers. The second pillar that we have is this AI Copilot or Agent Assist. Here, we have seen customers embed IrisAgent into their ticketing systems, be it Zendesk, Salesforce, Freshdesk, and many others. And with this deep integration with the ticketing systems, we help find answers from a number of sources. And in this situation, we are going beyond just the public content. We are training on, thousands and thousands of historical cases, call transcripts, conversations, internal documentation and whatnot. So this is highly tailored to find answers to even complex issues, and giving agents the next best step of what they want to do to better resolve those cases. We'll also summarize those cases. And one thing which often comes up in conversation with support teams is they're often manually tagging and categorizing cases, updating values like what is the product area, sub area, reason of contact, and so on. And AI has become pretty effective in training a machine learning model on customers' historical data, and being able to predict those tags and intents accurately and apply them back into the ticketing system. AI has become pretty good in terms of routing and triaging issues as well. So intelligently identifying who is the best expert to answer the question, based on the intent of the case that came in, what is the current real-time availability of the agents, who are the agents who have some available time that they can take up this case, and so on. And then the third pillar is workflow and analytics. So that's also super important because support has a rich wealth of this golden data set about what's working well, what's not working well for customers. And we use AI to identify sentiment behind customer conversations, identify escalation signals. So, if a case is about to escalate, what is the reason behind it? And can we do alerting and intelligent alerting to let the right people, managers, as well as experts know in the team about that case, as well as product quality signals. So being able to identify what are the product issues which are really hampering customer experience, and sharing that feedback cross-functionally to product and engineering teams. So yeah, net, these are some of the most common use cases that have resonated quite well with our customers, and we have seen much faster response times, more than 40% deflection, as well as up to 60% reduction in escalations. Yeah, so just a quick overview about some of the common GenAI use cases. I want to hand it off to you, Marilyn, again, to talk about how the adoption journey goes about.
Thank you, Palak, for highlighting those. And so as we dive into now, when you're ready for implementing GenAI, it was actually quite interesting. I was at SaaStr last week and I attended one session related about AI, and the panel asked the audience to raise their hands and asked how many of us out there have already looked into and started playing with AI related tools. Pretty much everyone's hands went up. But then the second question, when it came to how many of us out there had successfully implemented and started using GenAI or other AI tools within their business processes, very few hands were shot up. So here, I think what it is that a lot of people are very interested. They want to know how to implement AI and integrate that into their business processes. But when it comes to actually taking that next step and making that effort to do so, it could be daunting, right? There's just so much out there, and where do you even begin? And you're also trying to keep the lights on, running your operations, your support operations as well. And so then what we've outlined here are 3 phases of approaching the AI adoption journey and support. And we'll break it down into some manageable areas to go through and discuss. And happy also after this call, if you want to reach out and ask any questions and dive in more around these various phases, I'm happy to address as well. So as we start off with phase 1, it's around building awareness and education. So making sure that you're spending time educating your team on what generative AI is and how it will transform the support organization. You want to highlight those benefits, explain the advantages of GenAI, and this includes improving efficiency, that personalization for the customers, and the response accuracy. And then create and foster that enthusiasm within the team, but not just the team, but also, cross-functionally as well. You want to create that excitement about the potential of Gen AI and how it will enhance customer interactions and help streamline operations. Then stepping into the second phase, it's around assessment and planning. Now you want to take an inventory. You want to evaluate your current operations. You want to review existing support processes and identify where your strengths are, and then areas that require improvements. And then you identify those opportunities, pinpointing where Gen AI can be most beneficial, such as reducing the response times or handling some of those repetitive tasks. And then sit down with the group and team to set clear goals. You want to define the objectives for the Gen AI integration, and that includes outlining expected outcomes and also metrics for success. You really want to identify those metrics to lay out that baseline in order to determine how you're progressing as you're implementing these Gen AI tools and processes and areas that you can continue to tweak and make improvements on. Stepping into phase 3, this is around skill development and training. You want to make sure you're carving out time and resources to provide training and offer comprehensive training on using the Gen AI tools effectively. You want to help upskill your team. And so you want to develop those skills that are needed for team members to leverage Gen AI in their daily tasks. And then to ensure that smooth transition, you want to support the team through the adoption process to help maximize the benefits of Gen AI and ensure you minimize any disruptions around that. So those are the 3 starting phases as you're diving into looking at what's possible within your group and team and how to start identifying those areas that Gen AI can really help improve the support operations. Then moving into the second set of 3 phases, the remaining 3 phases in the journey. Next slide, please. What we have here is then how do we know we've achieved this with our customers, right? And first of all, we need to go and with phase 4, implement and integrate the Gen AI tools. So you need to execute your plan. You deploy your Gen AI tools according to the strategy you've outlined, and then ensure that they are seamlessly integrated with your existing systems. And then making sure that's compatible. You want to enhance your current operations without causing disruptions. And then to facilitate a smooth integration, making sure that you're coordinating with IT and any other support cross-functional teams to help address the technical challenges, and then ensuring that smooth rollout. And once you have that implementation done, this next phase, phase 5, is around monitoring and optimizing. And so you want to track those performance metrics and continuously collecting data on how Gen AI is performing and what impact it has on your support metrics. You want to analyze those results. With the collected data, you want to review them and assess the effectiveness to make sure that you're continuing to identify those areas of improvement. And then you optimize and adjust by making those informed decisions to make adjustments to enhance your Gen AI's performance, and then also ensuring that it's meeting your support goals. And then finally, in phase 6, the scaling and expansion is you evaluate your success. So you review initial results and determine the effectiveness of Gen AI in those initial areas. Again, what's working, what's not working, those incremental tweaks that you need to make improvements, and then tackle that next priority area that you want to now leverage AI to support. So then you strategically expand it, and then make sure that you're gradually extending the use of Gen AI to other support areas where it will have the most impact. And then continue to monitor the growth. I think it's very important to continue to have a pulse on how things are working, and you continue to track those performance metrics and make those adjustments along the way as needed as you continue to scale and grow. From my own experience, some of the ways that we've done this, and one of a few of my past teams have integrated AI into their support processes. the way we do this with minimizing disruption is we identify a pilot group or team to start with that initial rollout, and we pick up learnings from it. It's faster for us to continue to iterate and tweak before we do that full big bang rollout across the entire org. And so it's really important to be able to, you know, carve out a smaller group or team to just run through the processes together, pick up those learnings before you do the full-on rollout. So having walked through those phases of how you would approach this, why don't we turn it over to Palak? You can walk through, again, some real life examples from your customers using IrisAgent.
Thanks, Marilyn. That was pretty insightful to actually think about all the different phases and making sure that the implementation is successful. Yeah, so I think from our perspective, when it comes to the AI platform, there are different dimensions to look into when you are evaluating different AI solutions for your own support team. So what we, think of it as most important are four different aspects when it comes to selection of AI solutions. One is the AI solution just a thin chat GPT wrapper, which is a cookie cutter solution across, all the companies, or is that, really fine tuning models on your historical data, as well as building industry specific and domain specific models. A model which works well for an e-commerce industry might not work very well for a manufacturing company or so on. And these are some of the dimensions that we have also prioritized in our platform. And we have seen that, really fine tuning models, taking feedback from the users, using that for the additional step of reinforcement learning and retraining of the models really helps a long way to actually build these solutions and deploy them in real production settings. Second thing I'll say is there are lots of solutions which are just finding answers from public articles and simple documents. But I think the crux of the customer support domain is the thousands of unstructured conversations, tickets, as well as call conversations, transcripts, and so on, that can be really leveraged to fully train a machine learning model that can find answers, not just from articles, but also from historical tickets. Third thing is, making sure that there are no hallucinations. So this is the most important thing when it comes to AI solution is you really want to maintain the trust in your brand, especially when you're giving answers directly to customers. There are lots of, even for large companies, there are lots of these chat GPT thin wrappers that have come up in the market where you ask something random, people are, prompting these AI agents to get answers from completely irrelevant sources of information, like, generate me a code snippet for building an app, which is not related to the brand and the domain which is in the conversation. So that becomes super important. And then one other thing to think about is what are the different use cases, like we have talked about, that you want AI to influence in the coming months and years for you. And you might want to think about, how many vendors do you need? Are you going with point solutions, or are you going with an operating system approach, which we like to go with, where we're trying to build models for these different use cases. But the idea is that these models actually build on top of each other. So the learning from one use case really helps in improving the accuracy for the others as well. And just diving deeper into how the AI stack works with the IrisAgent product. So the bottom layer that you see is the different kinds of data sets that you can actually train your GenAI models on, which includes your support tickets, knowledge base articles. Even for software products, we can also plug into your engineering sources, your bug repository, product release data, documentation information, and so on. And the top layer that you see is the AI stack that we use internally at IrisAgent. So we train proprietary models on your historical data to identify intent behind the support conversations. We have a RAG pipeline, which has its own vector database as well as a retrieval system. And finally, it goes into a multi-LLM engine, which we can decide on the fly which LLM works the best for any given query. Some of our large customers also like to bring their own LLM models, so we can have a hybrid setup where we're using some of the most common and popular models along with the customer's own fine-tuned models. And then the most important thing is hallucination removal. So we have machine learning models as well as heuristics based approaches in place that can identify if the answer that is being generated is correct or not. And this is very important because we do not want to, hurt the brand and trust and safety of the customers. Just a quick case study on how we have seen some of our customers leverage AI. So, Zora is a Fortune 500 publicly traded fintech company in the subscription management space. They deployed almost entirety of all of our solutions and use cases. And with the use of AI, they have been able to respond up to 10x faster, resolve 30% of their tickets using AI, as well as reduce 40% of their escalations. This is just a typical deployment of how GenAI looks like across our customers. One is, deploying a customer-facing chatbot, which can intelligently respond to repetitive tickets, as well as seamlessly hand off to an agent if the bot is not able to answer. The second one is, agent-assist, intelligent routing and triaging, and providing resolutions to customers on the ticket itself. And then finally, the analytics piece of things where we identify sentiment, product quality insights, and customer journey and analytics from all of that support conversations and interactions. These are some of the main things we wanted to cover for today's webinar, covering some of our customer use cases as well as journeys. Let us take a quick pause. If there are any questions, please feel free to put them in the Zoom chat. Otherwise, you have our contact information on this slide if you want to reach out. Marilyn, any final thoughts or comments from you?
I think this is such an exciting time as being part of the support community that over the last few years, especially, there's so much more focus like yourself with IrisAgent and investing in building out technologies and solutions for support. I think this is really wonderful and great to see that finally support is getting love.
Right, absolutely. This is a highly exciting time. A lot is possible, but I think it's also important to do it in a safe and trusted way with partners that, you can do it in a phase-by-phase implementation strategy. Awesome. Great. Thank you all for joining. Thanks so much, Marilyn, for joining us for our first webinar of a series of webinars that we'll be hosting in the coming weeks. So please reach out. You have our contact information. Would love to chat with you and learn about your experiences and take it from there.
Yes, I'd love to hear from the group. So thank you for attending our session. And if you know of friends and colleagues who've missed the session, once the recording's out, please pass it along and share it with them.
Right. Awesome. Thank you all. We'll end the webinar now.
Thank you.
Right.